everyone. My name is Farabi Hasan. You can call me Farabi. I am an aspiring composer who is heavily influenced by game, anime, and film music.
So I have seen your first video that you upload. What inspired you to make a music content, especially with Genshin Impact music?
All right, so a little backstory for me. I am actually a composer in real life, and I've composed several local films as well as some overseas films. And from there, I always have this fascination towards soundtrack. I played Genshin, and the first time when we reached Storm Terror's lair, it was so beautiful in terms of the soundtrack, and I love how the soundtrack of Genshin really amplifies the mood of the location, and I'm a big fan of that. So from there, I have like this inspiration to make or recreate or maybe rearrange as well the Genshin soundtrack that I like. So yeah, that is my inspiration. I always imagine another, in an alternate universe, if you want to call it, a huge what if situations, like what if the character or that is kind of different with the lore of Genshin. So I always imagine my music while also using like the melodies for Genshin.
So what was your first impression of the story of your Genshin Impact?
The first time I immediately noticed how great the graphic was. When we progressed, we saw like statue thing, animo element. At first, it was kind of like a typical RPG story where you have a problem that you have to, find your siblings. You kind of have to travel to a lot of places. It was kind of typical, but the cutscenes for me is the one that really made Genshin Genshin. The cutscenes were really beautiful. The music were beautiful as well, especially the moment where we reached Liyue. And I think my most favorite cutscene from the story was when we fought Osile. That was so epic, and it made me feel so immersed into the world of Genshin, and especially not to mention Inazuma as well. The Archon quest there for me is also one of the best. I think they will keep on improving and improving, and I think it's a really good story overall.
The wait is over, my comrades.
What's your first impression in Genshin Impact? Like the one that you inspired you to be like this, making a music content?
Ah, that's interesting. I'd say big inspiration or like the crucial part of Genshin's music that really inspired me to make music like this was when we reached Storm Terror's lair. I think like the music there is very different compared to, just walking around Mondstadt or Liyue at that time, because Inazuma is not there yet when we reach Storm Terror's lair. And I think like the music really fits the ambience because there were like tragedy. There were like a event happened in Storm Terror's lair, and the music was so different. It felt so melancholic or sorrow. So I fell in love immediately when I heard Storm Terror's lair music. That was like the first time I kept track of Genshin's music, and that was like also my first time searching on streaming platforms, Spotify or Apple Music, Genshin's album, and I listened to a lot of their soundtracks from there, and I just noticed how great it was, how well composed it was. I mean, props to the composer, Mr. Yu-Peng Chen, and his team Hoyoverse for making a great soundtrack. So yeah, that was my first big inspiration to make.
Do you have any like the best moment that you have experienced in Genshin Impact that you motivate until now?
In Liyue, when we fought with Osile, and I think it's such an epic cutscene, and I loved that cutscene until to this very day. That's what kept me motivated on keep playing Genshin, looking forward for their new music. I have this big fascination towards traditional Japanese music. So I was looking forward so much into Inazuma, and they did not fail on reaching my expectation. It reached beyond my expectation. It was so good, and especially I think it was at 2.1, the cutscene where we fought Signora, and then suddenly Kazuha and Goro came into the palace. That moment right there where Kazuha tried to duel Raiden to save us, I think that was very epic. Cutscenes like that, I think, has the most crucial role on keeping me motivated on playing Genshin.
I have seen your Tsurumi music team. What's behind the story of making it as your first video?
In that Tsurumi video, I was so hyped for Tsurumi because, as I mentioned before, I really like a tragic or melancholic locations like that, such as Storm Terror's lair, right? So I was looking forward to Tsurumi. The first time I opened up my channel, I was thinking to myself, there are a lot of content creators out there that have recreated Genshin music. So what is my approach to the audience to make my music more interesting? I tried to imagine what Tsurumi Island soundtrack was like. My version of it's more into like my take on a Genshin soundtrack, whether that's future soundtracks or the current soundtracks, but make it more epic or something like that. That was my idea behind my first ever video.
What kind of music that have you created alongside with Genshin Impact?
I always like anime soundtracks. I watch a lot of animes. I am a huge fan of their soundtracks. So I think my first ever approach on getting into the anime soundtrack was the Horimiya and Kokomi theme. I mean, I was quite proud of fusing those two soundtracks. Yeah, aside from that, I also did like one of my original soundtracks because I enjoyed doing covers as well as like Genshin game covers or anime covers, but I also want to promote my own music. Yeah, that is also to kind of like promoting my own music so people know what my style of music is, like without any cover or something like that.
Do you have any plans about in the future for your content in your channel? And do you have a message that you want to tell audience?
First of all, for my plans, I do have plans, but at the moment, I'm sticking to my one vid per week. But in the near future, I am planning to upload more than one, maybe two or even three videos in a week. Doing YouTube is also a challenge to my workflow because I am used to create music with quite a long timeline. But in YouTube, you have to be consistent, and this is like a challenge to my workflow and is pushing my limits, which is a good thing because I feel like now I am working my music more faster than before, which is good. So I am planning to release more than one video every week, so step by step. And for the late future, I think this is just an idea. I saw a lot of comments that were interested or questioning like what kind of software do I use. Someone was asking me for advice and things like that into composing music. That comments made me think of an idea. Maybe in the late future I can like post a video about my walkthrough behind the things that I do, because like all you hear is just the final version, right? Like you don't hear like the process of creating the music. And I think it would be quite an interesting idea, but I'm still thinking of the way on how to upload those kind of videos. So yeah, but it's in one of my ideas. For the people that are watching, I'd really appreciate it if you have the time to go and take a listen to my contents. I always post every week at the moment, so I'd really appreciate it if you have the time and to check it out. And I hope you enjoyed my contents.
Is that who I think it was? Something's not right.